Hello and welcome to this foreign episode of DWN Productions, THC podcast sponsored by Fast Custom Shirts here at BOYGOB.com. Yeah. So we told everybody about the week yesterday, so fuck that, Joe. It's the fifth anal Jean-Claude Van Damme-a-thon. Are you excited?
Not really, but I
Ah.
did watch some stuff that wasn't on my radar, wasn't IMDb related, so a little different this time.
All right. How about you tell us all about that then, Joe?
Um, well, first of all, I watched a movie that I had already watched, which was Death Warrant, and I think maybe the first year we did this, I watched this, but hadn't written anything about it, for an upcoming publication. So I revisited this movie and I discovered quickly that, damn, this guy's movies are very forgettable. It's like, I know I've watched this, but like I didn't remember a whole lot about it. And that goes with like the next movie that I'll talk about. It's the same thing. Uh, they've all got moments, that you'll remember maybe one scene, but as a whole, the movies, there's not much to them. Um,
Is this the one where he goes undercover in a jail and then they find out that he's undercover and they don't believe him and they still stick him in there or whatever?
Well, in this one, like, first of all, he's after the guy that killed his partner. He's after a serial killers called the Sandman. The wrestler.
Fuck.
Yeah. So,
EC dub. EC dub.
so he's knocking back beers left and right, and Jean-Claude shoots him like 5 times, and then arrests him. And then, yeah, I guess the Mounties, they get Jean-Claude to go undercover because people are mysteriously dying in a prison. It's just happened a little too often for them. So he goes in and right away just starts asking questions to the guy that used to play Benson on the TV show. That Benson got like an eye thing, like he's blind in one eye or something. And he meets the local trans community in
the whole community.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, he investigates, and Al Leong is there, and he fights that guy for a while.
That's the like short Chinese dude with no hair except for on the sides and a long beard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
He fights him in a laundry room or some
right.
shit.
Yes, with a broomstick and everything. Yeah, you might remember this guy was in one of the Andy Sedaris movies that we watched too. He's in a lot of shit. He's all over the place.
No, Joe, that was Pat Morita.
Pat Morita was also that was Danny Trejo, playing an Asian. Yeah, so the Sandman gets sentenced to this prison, and like Sandman knows he's a cop, so everybody knows he's a cop. So he's fighting the whole prison now, and the guards, because the guards are all crooked too. Tom, he's fighting everybody, and the people that send him in there, they're crooked too. They're the ones that are behind it all. So why did they send him in there in the first place? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make a damn lick of sense.
Is this the one where there's like a big monster at the end that he has to fight?
Well, he kicks the Sandman into the prison furnace, and the Sandman comes out of there, and he's on fire and all burnt up, and he's still fighting Jean-Claude.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm thinking of In Hell.
Yeah, because that's another prison movie, right?
Yes.
Yes. Overall, this movie's okay, but like I said, you turn your logic off when you're watching this guy's movies, because they're pretty stupid, and he doesn't have a whole lot of acting chops at this point. He got better later on, but Yeah, he's really not bringing much here.
I think this was one of the last canon movies too.
Yeah. So from when I saw, like, they filmed this and then they shelved it and didn't do shit with it, and then I think maybe Universal Soldier made a lot of money, so then they brought it out or something. I don't know. It's real confusing. Like, he did a lot of shit that was that made money, and then he started doing stuff like Legionnaire and this. I don't think this made any money either. I'm not sure. It shouldn't have. You know, I didn't watch it in the theater.
You know what? Also, you didn't watch in the theater, Joe?
What's that?
Kung Fu Panda 2.
I did
Have you
not
heard
watch
of
that.
this? No?
I've heard of this. This is the sequel. No, that's fine. The sequel to Kung Fu Panda 1.
Yes.
Right.
Starring Jack Blackoff.
Jack
All
Black.
these movies are. He stars as the voice of the panda. Oh shit, there's a few of these movies, and I'm pretty sure that there was or is a TV show, and these movies are pretty fucking popular. I'm sure you've heard of them and all that shit, but this wasn't that good, Joe. Surprise, surprise. Uh yeah, I'm always disappointed when they don't take advantage of the animation to where, I mean, it's animated. You can pretty much do whatever you want. And there's not really these fantastical fight scenes or whatever. It's all just kind of pretty basic. But again, it's for children.
Right.
So, but yeah, I didn't really care for the animation or the designs or anything like that. JCVD has maybe a page of dialogue. He's like a sidekick to a sidekick. It's a crocodile. He's like the guard, a number 2 guard, and yeah, it's kind of hard to understand him. It sounds like he was literally recorded in a different studio of a lot lower quality because the audio is just different. And
Had
it
you
was
seen the first movie?
fuck no.
Okay, so you kind of went to this not knowing what the fuck's going on, then, right?
No.
No, is
No.
I mean, you haven't not seen the first. I've never seen either of them. I don't know. Does it fill you in like a comic book recap?
Yeah, kinda. James Hong, he plays the bear's adopted father, and he's like a fucking bird who makes noodles or some shit. And I guess it was just this fucking panda's quest to become a kung fu master, and he did. Who gives a fuck? I mean, it's a whole bunch of this is it, huh?
Are
This
there
is
any
that.
funny racist caricatures?
I mean, not really. The peacock is kind of like a low-key gay, but yeah, it's pretty tame and whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't see how this got so big and got all these sequels and shit. Because usually you'll see like one of these animated things or whatever. Maybe it's not for you because you're not a child. You'd be like, okay, I get it. It's animated well, or the story was all right, shit like that. But this was just okay. That's a Kung Fu Panda, too. So yeah, that's all I got for that shit. Skip it. And there was he's in the third one too, but I saved just enough movies to, if he doesn't come out with any more movies within the next year, I'll have enough to do one more. So we'll see.
Well, Tom, I and just finished watching this a few minutes ago. Rewatched Knockoff. Now this is another one that I'm watching, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I've seen this. You know, it's just I forgot almost everything about it. Primarily, I had forgotten that Rob Schneider is in it, and I'll tell you this about Rob Schneider: fuck that guy. Like the most unfunny guy ever. It's like shit. I mean, was Chris Kattan busy or something? You couldn't get that guy instead. So it's a really confusing plot. So bear with me. Like it's like all over the fucking place. Rob Schneider and Jean-Claude are they sell knockoffs, Tom. You know, like fake shoes, you know, or fake jeans, you know, and they're doing pretty good, and they're about to go legit with their jeans, you know. And but first, before they do that, Tom, they've got a rickshaw race to win. So
I hope disaster doesn't strike.
Pulling the rickshaw, but unfortunately, he wore some knockoff shoes, and his shoes are falling apart while he's running.
Tales from the crypt.
His buddy Eddie, another like mafioso triad type guy, he's in the race too, but he's cheating, and he gets somebody to substitute for him so he can go to the finish line or something. But they kidnap that guy. Some Russians do, because some Russians, they've got some bombs. This new bomb that they developed, Tom, that has green flames, and it blows shit up real good. And then the CIA gets involved, and they're investigating the knockoffs. But it turns out Rob Schneider is a CIA guy too. And then there's this black lady that she's investigating them. She's CIA, or no, is she? We don't know. Is she part of the company? Turns out, yeah, she's CIA also. After they made us seem like she's an assassin or something. Anyway, they meet Paul Servino, the head of the CIA there in Hong Kong. But turns out that he's trying to get the bombs from the Russians so he can blow stuff up and ransom the USA, I think, or something. It's just confusing, man. I don't know what the hell is going on in this. It's directed by Sui Hark, who directed like the Once Upon a Time in China movies and some other stuff. And he's got like a weird style of directing. You know, it's just really like that editing that I don't like. That's just all over the place. But multiply that times 5, and then he does like camera tricks, like doubling up people, like when they're looking at something, it shakes, and the camera's always in motion, Tom. It's always moving, you know. And then they'll do this picture-in-picture thing, and it's too much, man. It's too much of a good thing. It's not a good thing. This is not a good movie. And you know, again, you have some fairly decent fight scenes. That Jean-Claude, he can throw a roundhouse kick. I'll tell you that. He's got that shit down. But yeah, this is just a confusing mess. You know, and it plays to this was probably during his drug time, Tom, when he had the $10,000 a week substance problem, as he says. You know, I don't know. Not good.
Yeah, look at Street Fighter Inferno Desert Heat around that time.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled a picture for last year's Van Damme-a-thon when we talked about Desert Heat. Yeah, dude looked like he was on drugs for sure. Yeah. That was the image that was used.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all you gotta know about this one, if you want to watch a movie starring Jean-Claude and Rob Schneider about bootleg jeans, this is the one. For some reason, they were pushing that guy hard for a minute. He was in Judge Dredd too.
That's right, he was. Yeah. I never watched all of that one. I got real tired of it real quick. Probably because Rob Schneider is in it. I never watched The Animal or whatever the fuck that was. Deuce Bigelow, I never watched that one. I just don't like the guy. You know?
Is it because of his ethnicity, Joe?
Maybe. I mean, Adam Sandler, he's okay, you know? And he always gives Rob Schneider work. Mm.
So you got beef against Adam Sandler for that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Oh shit, Joe. I watched Dragon Eyes. Have you heard of it?
I haven't heard of that one.
All right. I think this was sometime in the 2012, 2014, somewhere around there. It stars a gentle fellow named Kung Lee. Have you heard of him?
Kung Lee, I have not heard of.
He's a MMA fighter, I guess. So in this one, old Kung Lee, he goes to jail because the cops think he killed this white lady.
Did
And
he?
it's kind of hazy because I watched a bunch of these movies this week, so they're all kind of blending together. But I'm gonna say no.
All right.
He seemed like a good chap, man.
An
In the
innocent.
yeah, mm, we'll see. So in jail, he's about to get beat up by the white supremacists until you see a foot come into frame and kick the white supremacist in the fucking face. And it's Juan Cloud, Joe. Can you believe it? He's in jail or prison.
Mm.
I
He's
can't
in
believe
hell,
it.
Tom.
Fuck. But you can't
Probably.
say that because that's another movie.
Probably had a death warrant out on him.
Probably did. Fucking prick.
You know, that title doesn't make sense now that I think about it. Go ahead.
So in prison, Juan Claude teaches Kung Lee, an Asian guy, the way of Kung Fu. So it's just, flashbacks of JCVD training this fucking dude to like fucking fight and do all this shit. And then he says, okay, now you have to go back from St. Jude's and protect my peoples, since I am in prisons forever for killing my sons for a heist that goes wrongs. Now you have to go back to my neighborhood and protect all these strangers from the drugs and
Does
the
he have yellow
gangs.
eyes, Tom, with like black slits
Yes.
going down? Okay.
He has yellow something else. And if he was a cartoon character, that's the color he would be drawn, Joe. So he goes to old Juan Claude's hood. It's undesirable. It's an undesirable location to live.
In
A lot
Belgium?
of no, I think it's Nolans.
Ah.
So, there's a lot of Mexicans
Mm.
around selling drugs and shit. And he's not into that. He's there to clean up the streets. Unfortunately for him, RoboCop runs the streets and he plays this WAP guy, but whew, that guy couldn't look any less Italian if he tried, or if he even tried to act. So fucking old Kung Lee gets caught up and he starts being like an enforcer and selling drugs and shit, but it's all a ploy to try and take them all out and make the community safe. Will he succeed? Will he fail? It's a movie, so he probably succeeds. The end. Yeah, this guy can fucking fight, or at least they shot it entertaining to make it look like he can fight, and
Mhm.
he breaks a shit ton of glass in this movie, like his name was Jason Voorhees. So if there's that, if you like to see glass get its ass kicked, this is the movie for you. But yeah, it was worth a watch. I'll never watch the motherfucker again, but if I watched it a little earlier, I might have paid Kung Lee the $25 to talk about this movie and call you a drunk.
Uh, so worked today, and so I don't really watch. I don't have a TV there, so I put it on YouTube and just put it on the old old speaker and listened to some people that made like mini documentaries about old Jean-Claude there, just retrospectives of his career. And turns out he was a ballerina as a kid, and that's why
because everyone was making fun of him. So he said, I'm going to be a ballerina. I'll show you.
yeah. But no, they made fun of him because he was a ballerina and because he wore goofy glasses. We all know what that's like. So his parents said, hey, well, we're going to put you in martial arts so you can learn martial arts. And nobody in Belgium will mess with you ever again. So I learned a little about that and learned about that $10,000 a week drug habit and his 5 wives. He's been married 5 times, Tom. Twice to the same lady, though.
So I went, it's kind of a wash.
Right, yeah. He's got 3 children that now he puts them in his movies and stuff. They'll have like little scenes doing kung fu or something, I don't really know what style it is that he fucking practices. They didn't really say that in any of the documentaries. They talk about him, in Predator and all that, doing the thing in that goofy costume that they had for him. About like him getting pissed off at Albert Puyun because Albert Puyun like laughed at him and he said he wanted to play bowl.
I would get pissed off too if the likes of fucking Nemesis or Albert Nemesis Pune laughed at me. That's some shit that would be like, maybe I should off myself if this fucking guy's laughing at me.
Yeah. The shit with Canon, the confusing shit with Canon, with them filming movies and then the shelving them and then going broke, and then MGM acquiring all the library and releasing that shit later. So, not a whole lot of talk about him being in Breaking. They talk about him like not knowing how to fucking movie fight. He was actually knocking people out and fucking hurting people when he was doing this shit. And they said when he did, what was that one with Sho Kosugi? Black Eagle, that like he hit Sho Kosugi a few times and Sho Kosugi went at him and they would have to break them up because they were fucking going at it all the time every time they had a scene. Interesting shit, I don't know.
Terrific, Joe. Yeah. Speaking of Jean-Claude's daughter and putting her in movies, I watched Alien Uprising starring Jean-Claude's daughter that I forgot her fucking name because contrary to popular belief, Van Damme isn't this guy's fucking name. It's something much goofier and much longer.
Yeah.
So this takes place in the land of mates. Yeah. We see a bunch of blokes with their birds. They're out at a local pub. Yeah. getting into a little fighting, a little drinking, yeah. And then they do some fighting and he's just like, "Oi, I got kicked out of this fucking bar. And there was a slag in there. She looked like one of them dirty girls. One of them girls that'll do anything." You know what I'm talking about. He's saying all these things, Joe. And it turns out she was behind him the whole time. So she heard everything. But it turns out she was everything that he said, Joe, because she went home and fucked him that night. So all the friends wake up in the house and the electronics aren't working. And it turns out, Joe, aliens are invading. There's a big, not good looking CGI spaceship over this mate city. And it's just them like how they do in zombie movies and shit, trying to find their way out of the city, trying to get supplies. How would life be if this happened with the panic and all that? And Their travels take them to the main character's uncle's house, and the uncle is played by Jean-Claude, and he has this cottage farm out in the country. And it turns out he knew everything that was going on because he has this old radio that was picking up alien communications and shit like that. So he's like, "Hey, everybody, you got to trust. You can only trust who you know. If you don't know, you can't trust." And everybody's like, "Oh, we've known them for years. We known them. Hey, what about that whore you just met last night? We only met her last night. Turns out, Joe, she's a fucking alien spy. Can you believe it?" And then her and her dad have a fight. And then Juan Cloud's like, "Oh, so you want the radio, huh? Biggest spaceships? Here, you take the radio." And then a laser beam comes down from the fucking ship and blows him up. And then his daughter gets sucked up on the spaceship. Fucking the military comes, CGI garbage is blowing up CGI garbage, and whew, looks terrible. And it turns out the aliens won, Joe. If you don't like frantically shot and edited, fucking looking like a found footage movie with all its shakiness and cinematography without being a found footage movie, this is for you. This shit was kind of hard to watch and wasn't very good. The novelty and human nature of seeing Juan Claude and his daughter get to act and fighting together in a movie, like, I guess it's worth watching for that, but everything else was just rubbish for the bin, as they say, mate. Especially because, oh, you got to listen to all these fuckers talking like this, yeah? No. No. Stand up against the English. That's all I'm saying. Rise up against the English.
Get up, stand up.
Fuck. Stand up to the English.
Mm-hmm.
In non-violence.
Right. Just throw some tea or some shit.
But not at them.
No.
Just throw it in the harbor and show them who's boss.
Right.
Make sure you pay for it first, though, because you don't want to steal.
Tom, check this out. Now, I probably couldn't do that before today, Tom, because what I did is I took a training session with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I suppose that during the pandemic, because this was posted 2 years ago to YouTube, Jean-Claude started teaching people stretching techniques and, how to get back in shape. And along the way, he teaches you things like how to walk properly, with straight legs, so you can look more intimidating. You'll draw attention if you walk straight, Tom. Not if you're just kicking your legs out like that Keep On Truckin' cartoon. That's just going to be odd. This training session, it's on YouTube, and the first session is broken up into 5 parts. So if you want to learn how to stretch, this is the way to do it. Go about with Jean-Claude, stuff like putting yourself against the wall and tightening your butt cheeks. And he, says modifications for people with big bellies that can't, bend down as good as regular people, normal people.
People aren't as flexibles if you're not as flexibles.
Mm-hmm. yeah, this is some funny shit. And I can't believe I watched more than one part, but I watched that whole 5-part session. Uh, it all starts out with like a thing. Hey, I was in an accident and had to relearn all this stuff, so I'm gonna teach it to you. But consult a doctor if you need to before this. Before you do any exercise regime. But then you can be like me, and he shows you his muscles, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah. He's wearing crazy makeup too.
He's wearing like all black except for his fucking true blue ass shoes. Like he wants you to
Yeah,
focus on his fucking feet.
yeah. He's wearing a JCVD tank top, and has like this symbol that we have right here in between us on printed on the back. But no, he's wearing like rose rouge on his face. His face is different from the rest of his skin.
They
And
had a
got, like,
mortician come in and do the makeup for the
yeah,
shoot.
he's got like eyeshadow and fucking eyeliner. He just looks odd as hell. It's something. I'm gonna be watching more of his stuff though because it's funny, you know.
I mean, it's just funny in the way that he sounds and he talks, because I watched a little bit more than you. I was expecting to like laugh and see all this shit, but it's odd, especially because of how it's shot in the
Yeah,
room they're doing it in. You wouldn't picture this being like a workout room. It looks like a
the
very
kid.
European living
Yeah,
space.
yeah. I think the
And they
kitchen is behind him. There's a little table, like a breakfast table or something.
They do a lot of weird fucking it's not a lot of weird camera work. It's like just the same shot over and over again where they fucking go like a wide shot and then pan past the bottle.
Yeah, there's the
Now
bottle,
pan back
bottle in the
from the
shot.
bottle. And they just do that shot all the fucking time. I mean, if you want a JCVD workout tape or whatever it is, uh hopefully they have this on DVD, because with the commercials
Yeah,
and how it's broken up and not being able to skip that fucking intro, I can see this being very fucking tedious. Like you would just have to watch however long all these videos are a few times until you can memorize what everything is, because it would just be a very hard watch, even if you had YouTube Premium or whatever, where you could skip the commercials.
yeah,
Just how they have it's like 7 minutes a piece, and you always have this same intro on all of them. So it would just be, you'd just be better running around the block, you fat fucking bitch.
yeah. Just get up, do something.
Yeah, but I would be lying to you if I said when he started showing you how to stretch your wrist, I was like, all right, well, I'm sitting down. I can actually try this one. Because I was half listening and watching while I was sculpting today. But yeah, you hit me up. It's like, oh, you got to watch this. It's fucking hilarious. And then I realized why it was funny, because the way he was speaking, I was like, Joe and his racism. God damn it. But yeah, it's out there. It's free on YouTube. It's just kind of hard to watch with all the. There was a fucking Taco Bell commercial on one of them. I was just like, don't you pick these a little better? Jesus Christ, sell somebody shoes or fucking aspirin or something. That goddamn Taco Bell. Let's see here, Joe. I watched Hard Target again. This was the one that my mom and I watched for the movie night. I was going to let her pick out whatever she wanted to, but the internet was down. So couldn't stream any of them. So I said, all right, well, you can get a Hard Target or what's the fucking other one? Sudden Death. Those are both ones that are good. and you should not have a problem with, because I don't think anybody's naked in either one of them. So she picked Hard Target. We watched Hard Target again, and excuse me, it's all right. I don't like it as much as when I watched it last time, but it was all right. There's some funny shit in it. Jean-Claude's in a goofy ass looking fucking mullet, walking around like a fucking French Marv from Sin City. He's got this stupid ass duster jacket on, trying to look tough. And this is another take on the most dangerous game, Joe. So Lance Henriksen, old nutsack face himself. He's this fucking rich guy who sets up hunts for other rich guys, but they hunt veterans, but not any veterans, homeless veterans with no family or friends. Some wouldn't even call them people, but not me, because I thank them for their service, no matter who they are, Joe. So ladies' dad is one of these unfortunate souls who gets caught up in the game, and she hires Juan Cloud to show him around town so she can try and find out what happened to her old papa. And when they find out, Lance Henriksen is running a human hunting game, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. He tracks him down and puts an end to his scrotum like features.
Yeah, so
Hard
Jean-Claude,
target.
like the only veteran that knew how to fight back, it seems, right?
Yep.
And he's got a buddy named of Wilfred Brimley who is doing his own Cajun accent.
That's his uncle.
Oh, okay.
That's his uncle, mon frère Mimi, or whatever the fuck he said his name was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Mo Fred Mimi, but
And he has a crossbow or a bow and
a
arrow?
bow and arrow, like a real Indian.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in a long time. This is a John Woo flick. This is when he was making American movies, like this and Broken Arrow and some other bullshit that I didn't like. Face Off, there you go. That was the other.
You get it? It's because they took their faces off.
Mm-hmm.
So call it Face Off.
Yeah, that was the one with the magnetic prison. But yeah, Hard Target. I don't know. I mean, I'd break my foot if I kicked a propane tank. Yeah. I don't think it quite works like that. Those things, even empty, they're pretty fucking heavy.
It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you have. Do I still got propane in this? It's
Right.
hard to. Let me put a flame up to it. But yeah, if you've seen the GIF of Juan Cloud punching the fuck out of that snake, this is the movie that it's from. So if you wanted to see that, this is the one. But I think we actually talked about this one on either the third or fourth, because if you're listening to this and you just need more JCVD, check out the YouTube playlist with years 5, 4, and 3. And if you even need more than that, head on over to BOYGOB.com and listen to years 2 and 1 of the Jean-Claude Van Damme-a-thon.
And I may be mistaken, but I think the snake, because he actually hit the snake, and the snake took him to court. Several instances where Jean-Claude was sued for hitting people while filming.
Fucking bitch ass snake.
So Tom, I also watched. I guess while he was doing the training videos for people, he was also trying to shine a little light on the earth. Like make the world a better place by doing some inspirational talks. And he has quite a few of these on his YouTube channel. After you hit subscribe on ours, go over to Jean-Claude Van Damme and subscribe to his. But
Jean-Claude Damme official.
Mm-hmm. One that I watched was Make Yourself Efficient. And, he's talking about the distractions we have in life and, how things can get out of control. And a good way to get yourself in control of what you're going to do on a daily basis, Tom, is make a schedule. Make a schedule of what you're going to do and think about things, Tom. The thinking is very important. This is not as entertaining as the. And this thing's long. This was like 20 minutes or something, and he's just kind of rambling. It's like during the pandemic, I guess he needed somebody to talk to, so it's like, fuck it, I'll just talk to myself and post it. But he's trying to shine a little bit of light on the world, make make people feel better, and I got to commend that, Tom. He's doing it. He's doing all right. But yeah, it's just odd. It's a weird thing. It meanders a lot. He talks about the two people that are inside you. One is a boss and one is an employee, and how you have to get them to work together, Tom, because when they're in opposition, the business can't run properly. The business of your life, Tom. Odd shit. I'd say it's worth a look just to see what an odd cat this guy is. He's Belgian. I mean, I don't know what to think.
At least he doesn't make videos with him and a little shitty dog.
Right.
That would be embarrassing.
That concludes my viewing for the JCVD-BBC special that we do every year.
Well, Joe, I got a few more, luckily or unluckily. I watched one called We Die Young, and it's about how Mexicans were always in Washington, D.C., Joe. Just 20 minutes away, you could see Washington, D.C. from the barrio, Joe. Full of Mexicans, but not just any Mexicans. The MS-13. They're there. And they have a young child. Well, not young. Teenager-ish? Yeah, teenager. And he's running drugs for him. And Juan Cloud is buying drugs from this young boy because he was in the war, you see. And a bomb blew off his fucking vocal cords. So now he has to talk with an app on his phone and wear a jerkin around his neck so nobody makes fun of his funny little blown off vocal cord scar.
Is he living in the barrio too, or does he just
He
go
is.
get his drugs?
Nope, he lives and works there.
Okay.
Because as his phone says for him, he likes the people. Ha ha.
So in the barrio, he's either working at a tire place.
That's right, Joe.
Or a loan place.
No.
A check cashing place, I should say.
Nope. He's working at an auto shop.
Okay.
So yes, it was the first one.
So there is some authenticity to this. So they did their research. All right.
So the day of this big gang leader's sister's wedding, like everything's going down. They're having a wedding at his house, and the feds are watching them. And this other fucking, I don't know if it's like a rival gang or another chapter of their gang, but he's supposed to give this guy money. The fucking kid was supposed to deliver it. Shit gets turned sideways. And now that kid's got to get it. His little, oh my God. So you think it's fucked up that this like 14 or 16-year-old kid's running drugs for the gangs, but fucking he has to go meet up and drop the fucking drugs off to somebody else to run it the other way. And it's his little brother that's like 8 years old. He's like, no, you can't be in a gang. You don't want my life. So he brings him back to school and he's like, you stay here, god damn it. And then a couple scenes later, we see this fucking 8-year-old kid getting jumped in by all these grown ass men with tattoos all over their face and arms and hands and shit. You just see this 8-year-old kid just getting kicked in the fucking face and shit. Ridiculous, Joe, but it happens. But it happens. But this was a fantastical reenactment of life, though. So Juan Cloud's gotta save the day, Joe, and make everything right. Will he? Won't he? Find out and we die young. This one is pretty good. I liked it. I'll never watch it the fuck again, but it was all right. And it was just like, huh. So Greg Abbott, he didn't have anything to do with that situation. They were there all the time. All right. All right. I see. Fake news, I guess, as they say. Huh. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was all right. If you like hood movies and you want one with JCVD, We Die Young. It's not bad. However, a dog gets fucking literally blown up in that fucking kid's hand. They're like fucking driving away from the gangs, and the gangs are firing into their car, and the young kid who just got beat up holding its dog. The dog gets hit by a bullet and literally fucking explodes. And the kid's just holding its floppy body, like, wake up, Pepley, wake up, and shit like that. So I'm not, the dog fucking, that's how it was. I'm just like, man, this one's actually not bad. This is surprisingly good. And at the same time, I'm thinking that the dog gets blown up. So give and take, but that floppy dog puppet, him going, hey, that was pretty good. So We Die Young. Out of all these, I would say this would be the one to watch. If you're only gonna watch one off my list, I would say We Die Young with what was it, Dragon Eyes in a close second. Excuse me. However, I have two more.
All right.
I have one called Swelter.
I haven't heard of this one either.
It's because it's not very good. This is about a group of bank robbers, or I think they're fucking planning a heist on a casino or some shit. It goes sideways, and they all get locked up in jail, except a cop maybe they were in cahoots with or tried to stop them or something. I don't know. I was half paying attention to this one. It lost me kind of early, and then they either get out of prison or escape prison, and they go to track this dude down who lives in an old west town, and he's the sheriff of this town and has amnesia and doesn't remember anything about taking this $10 million or whatever. So now this gang of fucking thieves come into town looking for their money, and Jean-Claude plays the old guy of the group. And like one of the main set pieces is this like brothel bar that's like old-timey themed. It's weird, like it's a modern movie, but everything's like old western timey themed and shit. I don't know. It's a lot of who gives a fuck, really. It's trying to be like super edgy and cool without being edgy and cool. Like they're in this fucking house of whores and no one's popping the gimmicks out. So it's just like, all right, well, what the fuck kind of movie is this? If you don't give a damn, I don't give a fuck.
So they filmed at Camp Zool, is what you're saying.
You know, that's not I want to say more of like a rundown version of the Town and the Blob remake.
Mm.
I would say something more akin to that, but yeah, really really weird and just meh. Sorry. Meh. And I think I have one more, Joe. Da 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 da. Yes. Minions. The Rise of Gru. You ever heard of this, Joe? You ever heard of the Minions or this Gru fella?
I've heard of the Minions. I've never seen a Minions movie or whatever they were based off of before it. I don't know.
I think it's Despicable Me, but don't quote me on that.
I think you're right. I've not seen any of those.
Again, like Kung Fu Panda, this is pretty popular, and this is like a big franchise.
So hold on, I take it back
Sure.
because we took the kids to see The Secret Life of Pets, which is an absolute piece of shit. But it started out, they had a short about the Minions, and I don't remember what they were trying to do, but it was like something forgettable, obviously. But that is my only experience with the Minion.
You like how they speak in some old Eastern European gibberish bullshit?
I did not like that. No.
All right, I was just making sure it was some kind of Czechoslovakian shit, not broken Spanish. I
Mm.
was waiting for you to say, "Hey, hold on, hold on." They were just having trouble with the language, but no, they weren't. All right, so I'm not the dickhead.
No.
So, Rise of Gru takes place in the 70s. It starts out, there's like this world's version of the Sinister Six. You got Black Lady, played by Taraji P. Henson. And then you got a couple other ones, and this French guy with a lobster claw for an arm. And his name's Juan Claude. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
And just like Kung Fu Panda 2, he has about a page of dialogue and he's like doing a fucking French voice so you can fucking understand him even less than normal. So Gru is like the, I guess, the main character in this Despicable Me shit. It's like movies from the villain's point of view, I guess, what I'm gathering from this movie. And he fucking, or I guess this team, they're going to find this fucking amulet that has powers. The leader of the group gets it, and they're flying away, and he hands it up to him on the helicopter or their fucking villain car or whatever. It's like, here, take it and pull me up. They're just like, no, you're old and we're done with you. Ha ha, I'm the leader now. So they have auditions for a new fucking member of their team. Gru comes in. They're just like, oh, you're just a kid, mate. Get out of here. He's like, I'll show you. And he steals the little amulet thing. And then the fucking old guy kidnaps him. You think, oh my God, this old man just kidnapped this young boy. Fortunately, nothing happens. And then the fucking evil super friends try and get them to get their little jewel back. And this whole thing is like Chinese New Year themed because this little jewel will change people into the fucking animals of the Chinese New Year calendar, except for Juan Claude that changes him into like fucking Mr. Hyde for some reason. And yeah, it's, I didn't give a fuck for it. I don't get how this shit got so big, or it just, but the thing that got me is this is like a heavily Asian themed movie, It takes place during Chinese New Year. They go to the Asian part of San Francisco, also known as San Francisco. So you see all this fucking Asian shit. And then there's like a karate master played by Michelle Yeoh. However, the fucking character design looks like an old Mexican lady. None of the Asian characters in this movie look Asian. So I think they were just like, oh, Asian hate's really big right now, and we can't even make them look anything like an Asian character. So just make them off white. So it just, yeah, you're you don't have to put them in a fucking Raiden hat with buck teeth and shit, but just design it to make me not. How does this fucking Mexican grandma know kung fu and shit? It was, but yeah, this movie, no,
I think
no,
Jean-Claude taught her when she was in prison.
probably, and that is the story of Chun Li, Kung Li's brother. But yeah, after this one, I thought, this is going to be the last one because we ran out of movies. But I have just enough to make one more year out of this if nothing else comes out. But he does have a couple that are supposed to come out this year. But if we survive long enough and decide to continue on with this, join us next year when I'll be talking about Kill 'Em All, two of the later kickboxer movies, and Morocco or Monaco Forever, some shit like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Early in his career.
So yeah, Joe, how was this year for you?
Oh, it was all right, I suppose. Learned a bit more, and like I said, pandemic must have been hard and lonely for the man.
Yeah, it was all right. Again, like we said before, all his drug problems aside, he seems like a decent enough guy, just very European.
Mm-hmm.
So, sleep well. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Tom.
You like comic books?
Less and less.
Hold on, Joe. It's not what you think.
Oh, really?
Do you like Tales from the Crypt?
I do not.
Just kidding. It's the JCVD-a-THON, so I didn't fucking even bother watching any of that. However, Joe, we did put up a poll on the Facebook page and the YouTube page, again, giving the audience a chance to vote on the next series we cover. And it was a close race, Joe. I thought it was going to be a tie, but after I did the totals, we have a winner by one vote. It was neck and neck between Tremors and The Thing. Which one do you think won, Joe?
I think The Thing won.
It did.
All right.
So next week we will be starting with, what is it, The Thing from Another World?
Yes.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Again, all of these are on a streaming service. However, the Thing movies are on different streaming services. Luckily, Walmart, they have their Halloween shit out, and this year, the Thing trilogy, we'll call it, is one of their glow-in-the-dark DVD packs for $10. So anybody out there, if you want to join us that way, go right the fuck ahead. But I did check, and they all are on streaming services, just different ones.
Okay. I mean, I have The Thing.
Yeah, I figure we each have the middle one. So
yeah. Yeah, okay. Thing from Another World, which I've never seen, next week.
Can't wait, Joe.
You know what?
Can't
I
wait.
might even try to find a novella and maybe read that real quick too. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, you like Spider-Mans?
No. So in Spectacular Spider-Man, uh, what the hell happened? Nothing much. Who the hell did he fight? God damn, I just read this today and I forgot about it. It was another guest star. Oh, the White Tiger guest stars because there's some protests going on. They're closing night school. So we learned they finally acknowledge that Peter's been going to night school every once in a while to finish to catch up with everything he falls behind on for because he's swinging around during the day and doing shit like that. And I don't know. They've got some papers there that the White Tiger steals, but then there's some other organization that's stealing it too. It sucks. It's stupid. It's stupid. So I read that, and then I read Amazing Spider-Man number 172. I think that's the number we're on. This starts out, introduces a new character that's got a skateboard, and it's rocket powered. So he can just zoom through traffic, and Spider-Man's is having some trouble catching this guy, but he does. He catches him, just throws him on a cop car, and that's it. We're introduced to that character for nothing, it seems. And Liz
They
Allen.
needed more diversity, Joe.
Yeah, I guess so. Liz Allen, like somebody's in her house when she comes home from being on a date with Harry Osborn, and she's, oh no, not you. So who could it
Which
be? We
that's
know.
fucking weird. Like they're fucking. I know it's back in the day, but I mean, you motherfuckers are engaged and you're not living with each
Right.
other. What the fuck's
Yeah.
going on here?
Um. Yeah. So we know who that is because we've been reading all this shit. We know her brother is the Molten Man, and sure enough, it's the Molten Man. So he has her steal some shit. She's not a thief, so she gets busted. And for some reason, the Daily Bugle's raising her bail money. Like she doesn't work there anymore. Like fuck her. It's odd. Uh, that professor lady that helped build the Spider Slayer, she comes to visit Jonah Jameson, and he gets all happy. And
AKA he pops wood.
yeah, and then Spider-Man's and the Molten Man fight, and it ends
The
on a
molten man gets away, and then
yeah.
the cops surround Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And they treat him like he's the fucking Rocket Ranger.
It's not good. I mean, it's very uneventful. Maybe there was one panel that I thought looked cool with the Molten Man, like all hot, you know.
No, I don't.
Yeah. But no, it's just another bullshit issue. You know.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Mm.
Tune in next week to see if Spider-Man gets shot and then they pull, oh my god, he was a white guy, and then they feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Hey Joe, you like stores that aren't around anymore?
I do, Tom. I do. Uh, travel down memory lane for this one, Tom, and probably the oldest one that I can recall is a store called Best. They were so fucking arrogant. They just called their store Best. You remember these stores, Tom?
Fuck no.
Well, they had the distinction. It was a weird concept because they had like a whole toy section and a sports section, sporting goods, that was off on its own, and they had a kick-ass toy selection. But the rest of the store was all just displays. Like if they had a toaster oven there, it was on display and you could look at it or whatever. And then if you wanted to get it, you'd tell one of their salespeople, and then they would go back and get it for you. It was it was just a weird concept. and all their stores looked different. They didn't, have the same. The people that owned this place were real into architecture. So they had one that looked like the building was fucking falling apart, and they had one that looked all space age. Uh, Real strange shit. And I guess they were around until like 86, maybe 90 something. But yeah, when I was a kid, it was like they had like the coolest toy section around. I remember this was when Star Wars first came out. And they had all the new Star Wars toys. It was just a sight to see. And they had the Micronauts toys. They had all fucking kinds of action figures. Pretty cool. Pretty cool place, Tom.
Hey, Tom was born in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
You remember this store best?
It
closed in 1986. Sorry, Joe. I was in Chicagoland at that time.
They were all over the U.S., Tom.
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that place at all.
Yeah. Ask your mom.
I will. Hey, Mom, do you ever go to the barrio and go to the store best? Sí, mijo, sí. Muy bueno. My number 5, Joe, is also a toy store that were in malls. And this was KB Toys. They didn't have the best selection, but what they did have was reasonably priced. This is a place where I got a lot of the Marvel Universe collections. It was like repackaged figures from the X-Men and Spider-Man lines in a different packaging because, it's the collector's boom and it's fizzling out. But if we put this in a different box, we might be able to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. They had a lot of 3s for $7.99s, and it was a beautiful time. But unfortunately, the stores were very small, and if people were in there, it was very hard to get through, especially being a fat fucking kid. So, KB Toys, rest and empowerment.
At number 4, Tom, have a store that was in the malls. This was a toy store. It's called KB Toys. Now, I wasn't exactly a kid at this. I guess I would be more of a collector at that time. So I'm just buying shit just to buy it because I'm fucking dumb. But, they didn't have the best selection. But what they had was a clearance section. It would be like maybe 3 figures for like $7.99. I got a lot of shit like the Aliens figures and Swamp Thing figures, and Fantastic Four had a line of figures, and I picked up some of those. And the only drawback is they put these stickers on the fucking packaging, on the cardboard, and you couldn't get that shit off without ripping off the cardboard.
Heat it up, Joe. With a blow dryer or a heat gun.
Well, I still have the Swamp Thing figures. I don't know that I have any of the Aliens figures. I might have sold those off already. But yeah, KB Toys.
Yeah, those fucking Aliens figures were huge. I fucking didn't even like those fucking alien figures, but I had a couple of them. I know I had like a gorilla alien figure where it had a rubber head and you squeeze it and I'd fill it up with my little boy loads and then it would shoot out of its mouth.
Right onto Vasquez's face. Take that.
You whore. Oh, mercy. Joe, number 4. I had a store in the mall. Most malls had this. You could get music and movies from this store, physical editions. It was a good store. It was a goodie store, Joe. It was Sam Goody, where you could go and get physical copies of movies and music. I'm guessing you went to this store as well.
Sam Goody's. I would always confuse them with was it Sun Chase? Was there a place called Sun Chase that was like the same kind of shit?
Sun Coast?
Sun Coast. There you
The
go.
movie store?
Yeah. Well, they had records and shit. Not records, but CDs. Right?
Not
No?
Sun Coast, no.
Okay. Well, Sam Goody. Sam Goody, I remember them having like that fucking anime.
Anima.
Yeah, they had a whole anime section. I just remember them being fucking really high priced on a lot of their stuff.
They probably were, Joe, because it was in the mall and that's where you had to go and get it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you go now.
Okay, so Tom, my number 3 was a place that was in the mall. And this was a bookstore by the name of Walden Books.
What? Goosebumps.
Yeah. Now, at the time, the publishing industry was pretty different, and they had everything sectionalized. You had your science fiction section, you had your horror section, you had, all kinds of shit, and picked up a lot of books from there. Also picked up like magazines like Fangoria or whatever, and they also carried comic books, Tom. They had a spinner rack, but a fancy spinner rack, not a wire one. It was like plastic, so the comics weren't all fucked up in them. And this was also at the beginning of the trade paperback, when they were starting to do that, collected editions, graphic novels, they called them. So I picked up a lot of that shit from there too. Walden Books. So.
That was definitely a stop for me. I would go in there for the magazines and the floppies. On their fantastic spinner racks that were plastic, you see.
Yeah.
Joe, number 3. It was Joe. Sorry, I had a stroke.
Okay.
Number 3, it was not in a mall, but they were located by a mall and recently closed down in the last few years and then popped up in the last couple years inside of Macy's for some fucking reason. And this is Toys R Us, and the R was backwards because they were pirates, you see. Yep, fucking during the gay 90s, they had their fucking giant ass figure aisles and shit, fucking just aisles and aisles of figures. It seemed at one point like half of one fucking aisle was all Star Wars and the other half was all fucking Spawn shit.
Yep.
Then you would go around and then you would have your Marvel and DC shit, and then you'd go around and you have all your fucking wrestling shit. Aisles and aisles of figures. It was a wonderful time for a child who liked to stick the heads of action figures in his penis hole, Joe.
Yeah, they carried a lot of the McFarlane shit, the movie maniacs and the like, but some of them were a little different, right? They had like edited versions or some shit.
Yes, they had one where Angela had underwear on, Joe. Remember when you learned about that a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, to hell with him. That's what I say.
Yeah. Tom, at number 2. This place was not in a mall, but it seemed to be the size of a mall. And this was Fry's Electronics. So they all had a theme, and they all had like a little cafe in the middle of it, you know. But fuck all that. I was there for their huge movie section, and they had a lot of shit. They had a lot of CDs and fairly reasonably priced. Uh, their computer shit was good. I remember getting my first Epson from there, and I think I picked up a laptop from there. And their staff was knowledgeable. How about that shit, you know? Um, yeah. When I first moved here to Dallas, there was still one here, but it was like a ghost fucking town, man. Like a lot of the aisles were empty, and it's like they were just holding on, clinging on to life, you know, for as long as they could. And I guess people that know how to build computers, they would still go and get shit from them or whatever, because they weren't really selling much of anything else. Uh, yeah, yeah, sad day.
Yeah, it's weird. You would think with the reasonable prices they had and everything that they had, the store would still be open. But yeah, towards the end of it, there was like nobody fucking there, and their DVD section just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and it was all like it wasn't good shit either. It was all like Mill Creek stuff and shit like that, compilation DVDs.
At the end. But I
Right.
mean, they used to have like the boutique labels
Yeah,
at
they
the
had all that shit
time.
before anybody else did. You know, before because even
I would say shit like a Synapse.
yeah,
Those were the boutique labels at the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Rest in empowerment. If we were doing a top 6 list, that would have been number 6.
Hmm.
Mm. But it wasn't, Joe. My number 2, Sun Crust or something. Is that the name of it? It
I
was in
believe
a mall.
yeah.
They had an Animas section or something. Suncoast Video, where you would pay a lot more for something, but chances are they fucking had it. And back then, you know, there was only a couple spots you can go. You couldn't get on the internet and shit. So if you wanted a VHS copy of Phantasm 3 and they fucking had it, you better fucking pick it up there, you fat titted mo, because you're probably not going to find it anywhere else. And then they had those fancy posters I was talking about, where it's the poster that's shrink wrapped on a giant piece of cardboard. Oh my God, how fucking amazing. Suncrust, rest in empowerment.
Right next to Hickory.
Fuck yeah. Smoked meat in movies.
At number 1, Tom, I probably spent more money on DVDs and video games and fucking books and graphic novels than any other place, and that is Hastings. Uh, didn't have one in Corpus where I lived, but where my brother lived in Round Rock, there was one. And then driving, I guess, into whatever town is before San Antonio, there was one there too. And I would stop at them and I would fucking load up on shit. I'd find all kinds of good shit there, you know, and again, reasonably priced. You know, it was like 3 for $10 or some shit like that. Or they had other kind of specials that they would go on. Got a lot of like Blue Underground stuff from there, a lot cheaper than you would usually find it. Synapse stuff, which is usually expensive as shit, but all their used stuff was good. I got a lot of Asian action and horror movies from that place. A lot of graphic novels too. I would spend so much money in this fucking place when I go in, but lamentably, it is gone forever.
Mm. Well, Joe, my number 1 is a place that had it was a big place, Joe. It had music, it had movies, it had books, it had magazines, it had t-shirts in it. It had posters. It had little countercultural knickknacks and things like that, Joe. And this was Tower Records. Have you heard of this place?
I have.
Man, did they blow Suncrust out of the water when they opened up one of those in front of them all. Hey, look at all this shit that's reasonably priced. I can't believe it. I'm a young fucking punk kid. I'm just going to walk in there and steal everything. And that's what I did, Joe.
I just don't like climbing stairs, Tom. So I was never a fan of Tower.
Take the elevator. But yeah, they had a fucking good movie section, a great music section. That was when I gave a fuck about music. And their magazine section was awesome. That's where I would go to get my goosebumps. And, you know, whatever I couldn't afford to pay for, I would just ride my bike up there, stick it between my butt cheeks, and then walk out. If you want this Goosebumps book, you're going to have to dig in my ass. Little did I know the security guard was a pedophile. So, Joe, those were our top 5 stores that no longer exist.
Gone, but not forgotten.
Next week, because very original and very timely, we will do our top 5 martial artists, Joe.
All right.
Everybody, thank you. If you're still here and you're on YouTube, might as well subscribe. Seeing those numbers climb makes Joe happy. Smash that like button, pick the pieces up, and gently open the hole of your penis and place each individual piece inside. Gently on the body. You don't want to tear your urethras. You just do it gentle. And then head on over to dwnproductions.net. Check out all my art, masks, busts. I was going to say shirts, but that's fastcustomshirts.com. But over at dwnproductions.net, mask, bust, props, all that stuff. Like I said yesterday, if you want something for Halloween, now is the time. Joe, t-shirts.
Fastcustomshirts.com. You can peruse the many options I have to choose from on the website. If you need custom work, well, pretty busy, and I'm waiting for 2 big fucking invoices to get paid. But if you get your order in before they pay them, I'm going to do your order first because that's the way that shit goes. So, up to you.
Well, it was a good run. Jean-Claude, rest and empowerment. You will be missed. Everybody, I hope you have a fantastic fucking week. It goes great for you, and all your dreams come true. Hopefully, yes, that is important. Hopefully, we will see you again next week, Monday, not Sunday.
Monday.
So we will be back to talk about this vegetable-based alien man and what have you. All right, then.